Why you never truly enjoy driving your car. Chapter 1. The illusion of freedom. The car sits in your driveway, gleaming under the morning sun, promising freedom and adventure. You approach it with keys in hand, perhaps feeling a momentary spark of anticipation. This should be the moment when you connect with the machine that represents mobility, independence, and personal expression. Yet within minutes of starting the engine, that spark fades into something far more mundane. The reality is that most of us never truly enjoy driving our cars, and the reasons run deeper than simple traffic frustration or mechanical problems. The modern driving experience has become so divorced from the original pleasure of operating a vehicle that we've forgotten what genuine automotive enjoyment feels like. We've created a system where cars are simultaneously essential and soul-crushing, where the act of driving has been reduced to a necessary evil rather than a source of satisfaction. The machine that once represented ultimate freedom has become a prison of routine, stress, and constant anxiety. Consider the last time you genuinely smiled while driving. Not the forced smile of someone trying to stay positive in traffic, but the authentic expression of joy that comes from doing something you love. For most people, that moment is either buried in distant memory or has never existed at all. This isn't because cars are inherently unenjoyable, but because we've systematically eliminated almost everything that makes driving pleasurable. Chapter 2. The anxiety machine. Every time you slide behind the wheel, you're entering a state of controlled anxiety. Your body instinctively tenses, your breathing becomes shallower, and your mind shifts into a defensive mode that's incompatible with enjoyment. This isn't paranoia. It's rational fear based on statistical reality. You're piloting a 2-ton missile through a maze of other 2-ton missiles, each operated by drivers of varying skill levels, attention spans, and emotional states. The constant threat of collision creates a persistent low-level stress that colors every aspect of the driving experience. You scan for pedestrians who might step into traffic, watch for cars that might suddenly change lanes, and monitor your mirrors for aggressive drivers approaching from behind. This hypervigilance is necessary for survival, but it's the antithesis of enjoyment. You can't relax and savor the experience when your brain is constantly calculating risk and preparing for evasive action. Modern cars compound this anxiety with their endless safety warnings and alerts. Your vehicle beeps when you're too close to another car, chimes when you drift from your lane, and flashes warning lights for everything from low tire pressure to scheduled maintenance. These systems are designed to keep you safe, but they also serve as constant reminders of danger, making it impossible to find peace behind the wheel. The car becomes less of a personal space and more of a mission control center, where you're managing multiple systems while navigating through hazardous conditions. Chapter 3. The erosion of skill and connection. There was a time when driving required genuine skill and created a tangible connection between human and machine. You had to understand your car's personality, know how to work the clutch, feel the road through the steering wheel, and listen to the engine's voice. This connection created a sense of mastery and partnership that could be deeply satisfying. Today's cars have systematically eliminated these elements in favor of convenience and safety. Power steering removes the feedback from the road. Automatic transmissions eliminate the need to coordinate clutch, gas, and gear changes. Electronic stability control prevents the car from sliding or spinning, while anti-lock brakes ensure you can't lock up the wheels even if you wanted to. These systems make driving safer and more accessible, but they also create a barrier between you and the driving experience. You're no longer driving the car, you're simply directing it where to go while it handles the actual mechanics of motion. The loss of this connection transforms driving from an active skill into a passive experience. You become a passenger in your own vehicle, isolated from the mechanical poetry of internal combustion engines. the satisfaction of a perfectly executed gear change, or the subtle communication between tire and road surface. Without this connection, driving becomes just another form of transportation, no different from riding a bus or train, except that you're responsible for steering. Chapter 4. The prison of routine. Most driving happens within the confines of rigid routine. You drive the same routes to work, to the grocery store, to your children's activities, following paths so familiar that you arrive without conscious memory of the journey. This predictability is efficient, but it's also mind-numbing. The roads become invisible, the scenery turns into background noise, and the act of driving becomes as automatic and unremarkable as breathing. Routine driving is maintenance driving. You're not exploring new places or seeking adventure. You're simply fulfilling obligations. The car becomes a tool for completing tasks rather than a vehicle for discovery. Every trip has a purpose unrelated to the journey itself, whether it's getting to work on time, picking up groceries, or meeting social obligations. The driving experience becomes subordinate to the destination, reducing your car to nothing more than an efficient means of transportation. This utilitarian approach to driving means you're always focused on arrival rather than the journey. You measure success by how quickly you can get from point A to point B, not by how much you enjoyed the experience. The car becomes an extension of your productivity rather than a source of personal satisfaction, transforming what could be moments of solitude and reflection into periods of impatience and frustration. Chapter 5. The burden of ownership. Car ownership in the modern world is less about passion and more about financial obligation. Your car represents a significant portion of your monthly expenses through loan payments, insurance, fuel, maintenance, and depreciation. This financial burden creates a complicated relationship with your vehicle that has nothing to do with driving enjoyment and everything to do with economic stress. You can't fully enjoy something that's constantly costing you money. Every mile driven adds to wear and tear. Every parking lot visited presents the possibility of dings and scratches, and every month brings new expenses. The car becomes a source of anxiety rather than pleasure, a possession that demands constant feeding and care while simultaneously losing value. This economic reality makes it difficult to view your car as anything other than a necessary evil. The maintenance requirements of modern vehicles add another layer of stress to ownership. Regular oil changes, tire rotations, brake inspections, and emissions tests create a schedule of obligations that have nothing to do with driving enjoyment. You're not maintaining a cherished possession. You're servicing a depreciating asset that you're legally required to keep in working order. This transforms the relationship from one of care and affection to one of duty and obligation. Chapter 6. The loss of solitude. Cars were once private spaces where you could think, listen to music, or simply enjoy moments of solitude. Today's vehicles have become an extension of your connected life, filled with phones, GPS systems, and entertainment centers that ensure you're never truly alone with your thoughts. The quiet contemplation that once made driving restorative has been replaced by the constant input of information and communication. Your phone rings, text messages demand attention, and navigation systems provide constant commentary on your route. The car becomes another location where you're expected to be available and productive, rather than sanctuary where you can disconnect from the world. This connectivity eliminates one of the few remaining spaces in modern life where you could be alone with your thoughts and enjoy the simple pleasure of moving through space. The loss of automotive solitude reflects a broader cultural shift away from quiet contemplation and toward constant stimulation. We've filled our cars with the same digital distractions that dominate the rest of our lives, ensuring that driving becomes just another context for multitasking rather than an opportunity for mindfulness and presence. Chapter 7. The path forward. Despite these challenges, the capacity for driving enjoyment still exists. It requires intentional effort to reclaim what we've lost and to rediscover the simple pleasures that cars can provide. This might mean taking longer routes that prioritize scenery over efficiency, driving with the windows down and the radio off, or simply paying attention to the mechanics of acceleration, braking, and steering. True driving enjoyment also requires separating the act of driving from the obligations that usually accompany it. This means occasionally driving without a destination, exploring unfamiliar roads, or simply sitting in your car without the pressure to be somewhere else. It means viewing your car as more than transportation and recognizing it as a portal to experiences that can't be found anywhere else. The modern world has systematically eliminated most sources of driving pleasure, but it hasn't eliminated the human capacity to find joy in motion, exploration, and the simple satisfaction of controlling a machine. Rediscovering these pleasures requires conscious effort and a willingness to drive differently than the culture expects, but the rewards are worth the effort. Your car is waiting to be more than just a means of transportation. It's waiting to be a source of genuine enjoyment once again.